Hello, everyone. We have Mona. We traveled to Hong Kong now. And then before me saying anything about Mona and what she's doing, I prefer Mona to go through an introduction.
Hi, everyone, and hi, Farhad. Thank you for having me on today.
You're welcome.
I'm just enjoying some oolong tea at the moment, so I guess I'll just introduce myself. My name is Mona. I was born and raised in Hong Kong. I am ethnically Indian, but raised here in Hong Kong, and so tea has been kind of a big part of my life since young, but more so in the background. What else about me? Let me think. I come from a big family. I love to travel. I love eating food. I love languages and learning about cultures. And I started to drink tea more seriously since 2013, but we can get into that in a bit.
That's great, Mona. This is more than somehow 6-7 years of experience in tea industry. Am I right? As I understand and as I remember, you started a business which is on tea. Can you elaborate a little bit more about your business, Mona?
Yeah, sure. So I started, the reason I got into tea was because I started as an intern at a company in the States that was selling tea. And they focused on mainly blends, but also some single origin teas. So they had about 150 different teas. And so I would try a different tea every single day. And I was just really, really fascinated with all the different flavors that came from Camellia sinensis, the tea plant. And eventually I moved back home to Hong Kong. And since all the tea farms are quite close to where I live, I decided to kind of take the leap and then just travel to a tea farm. And that's what kind of led me onto starting Teawala. But at first it was more just me being curious about tea and wanting to learn more about it from the source. And so I found a white tea farm in Fujian province of China on the WOOF platform. It's an online farm exchange platform where you can go and volunteer on any kind of farm, not just tea. And so I volunteered in Fujian on a white tea farm for about a week and a half. And from that experience, I basically got to, pluck the tea leaves and then bring in the tea leaves to the processing facility, help to spread them onto bamboo mats and kind of wither them for about 72 hours, and then help to kind of filter through, if you will, through the tea leaves and make sure that everything in the finished product is desired. So it was a really awesome experience.
That's a great experience, Mona. So you have been in a tea farm doing different steps of making the tea ready for the one who wants to drink.
Yeah. And up until then, I guess I had more of my experience with tea was, drinking it on a daily basis and sort of reading about it, but I just really wanted hands-on experience with it. So I really enjoyed just getting to know the tea plant and then the fresh tea leaves, the smells and the taste and everything. It's just a completely different experience. Yeah. So it was really nice. And I worked alongside the tea workers as well. Spent a lot of times with the tea aunties at the tea farm, which was really nice, working alongside them. And so from that experience, I learned a lot about tea. I would take a lot of notes about the different white teas I was tasting. And then I loved that experience so much, I ended up traveling to Darjeeling with a friend, and to Taiwan, Yunnan, and then lastly Sri Lanka, all within the span of around 2018, 2019.
Right. So you have been to different tea farms in different parts of different countries somehow.
Yes. So since I'm in Hong Kong, I'm quite lucky because it's quite easy for me to travel to mainland China, and then to Taiwan it's just a 1-hour flight. To India is also quite easy, couple hours flight. So I was lucky enough to visit all those different regions. And at the time, I was recording my travel experiences through my Instagram, Teawala. And then at the end of the year, I just decided, well, actually the beginning of 2019, I decided, since I already have, relationships with the tea farmers and the tea producers, and I also have friends and followers who are enjoying the teas and the tea experience, that I could create a company and kind of act as the link between the two. And prior to actually launching the company, I did what I called a tea mail. So it was basically me sending tea samples from those farms that I visited, and then writing a postcard and sending a little souvenir to kind of include people on my journey. So that was really fun.
You've done a great job.
Yeah.
That's great. And then based on what you're saying, my understanding is that's an online business. Am I right? It's online business, not a tea shop. Am I right?
Correct. So at the moment, I have my website. It's theteawala.com, and on there I have sourced all the teas from the farms and the producers that I physically went and visited during the tea travel year. So it's a small selection. It's about, at the moment, it started with 6 teas, and now it's expanded to about 9 or 10, I think. Oolong teas, white tea, black tea, and herbal as well.
Okay, so you have herbal as well. It's not just the pure tea. I mean, white tea, oolong tea, or whatever.
Well, I started out with the intention of it just being pure tea, but then I found this amazing lemongrass when I was
I love it. Yeah.
Staying at the tea farm in Sri Lanka. So I did source their black tea, of course, the Ceylon tea, but I tried the lemongrass as sort of the welcome drink when we arrived, and I just fell in love with it. So I also decided to bring it on.
That's wonderful. And based on this great experience that you mentioned, Mona, do you remember anything happening in those trips or in your business? Something that you want to share with us, something funny or some good experience to share with us or our followers?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's too many to count, from the lot of funny and hilarious encounters on my tea travels. I mean, just because, you know, I'm from the city, and then I'm going out to like very rural areas and meeting people from all walks of life, and in terms of cultural exchange and just a lot of fun times. But one, I guess, that kind of stands out was when I was in Darjeeling. So in Darjeeling, the tea pickers, they carry the basket with a headband, and the basket is behind them on their back. Yeah, so when I was touring through the farm, we got to try it ourselves. We met some tea pickers, and then they showed us how to, you know, put the basket on and then pick the tea leaves. And it was just really, really awesome to try it. I mean, it's a pretty heavy basket, first of all, and I'm a very small person, so among the tea bushes, it was quite difficult. And but they were like encouraging me, you know, okay, you're doing a good job. And so I was like really excited. I plucked all of my great Darjeeling tea leaves, you know, button 2 leaves and whatnot. I had a bunch in my hand, and then as I kind of reached into the basket to put it, I just actually dropped all the leaves on the floor behind me.
And you did the hard job, then put it in the floor again.
Yeah. So all of the tea pickers were laughing at me, and it was quite a fun moment because I was there with a friend and also another friend that we met during the experience, and so we all just kind of shared a laugh with the tea pickers. Yeah, I did all the hard work and then just threw it on the ground.
It's I mean, I know it's not an easy job. I've been to few tea farms. I myself, I haven't done that part, but yeah. I believe that's not an easy job. It's a hard job, and we need to appreciate what they are doing. Yeah. Whether we are going to sell the tea or consume the tea, at the end of the day, whatever we do as a tea consumer or seller, so we need to appreciate the way they do this, and they pick the tea and then make it ready for us to drink, to enjoy. I mean,
yeah, it's a really quite a difficult job because, you know, the tea mountains are also very steep, so they're doing a lot of hiking through very narrow trails. And sometimes when it's rainy, they still have to pick the tea, and it's quite slippery, but because they're experienced, you know, I might have a difficult time, but for them, it's become kind of, they've adjusted to it and are able to do it with ease. But it's still a very difficult job, definitely. Requires a lot of dexterity and patience, and just continuing to do the same, you know, morning shift and then possibly afternoon shift as well.
Yeah, I understand your point. If you want to touch on the tea industry and culture in your area in Hong Kong, or if you want, of course, if you have experience in other part of the world based on your travel, if you want to touch on that one as well, let us know. But maybe we can start with Hong Kong, and then if you want to elaborate in more other countries, let us know.
Yeah, I think tea culture is very interesting because like tea is the most consumed beverage outside of water in the world, right? But in each different country, there's a very different tea culture that's associated. So, you're from Iran, right? So you have a very distinct black tea culture there.
Exactly.
And my family's from India, so we also have a black tea culture. We like to infuse a lot of spices, or masala as we call it, and you drink the tea throughout the day, morning, afternoon, like evening. That's just the habit. And then in Hong Kong, we have a very distinctive tea culture as well. So Hong Kong is quite traditional Chinese, and there's a tradition called yum cha, which is dim sum. It actually directly means to drink tea, but it's the custom of basically meeting your family members on a Sunday morning, late morning, afternoon.
Get together,
share dim sum, and then always drink tea with the dim sum.
Nice.
Usually is like pu'er or jasmine tea or tie guan ying or shou mei. Those are normally the teas you'd be drinking at yum cha. So that's like the most commonly enjoyed way of tea in Hong Kong. Okay. And also it's quite fascinating because recently I noticed like more and more young people getting into tea here. Typically young people have been more interested in coffee because tea has been around for so long, and coffee is, cool and interesting, different. But then now there's kind of a new wave of surge in interest in tea, and kind of trying to bring a modern twist to the traditional product with which, most people here, their grandparents drink tea, their parents drink tea, and then trying to kind of appreciate that beverage that they've kind of grown up with, but in a more modern and fun way.
I understand your point. If you want to consider the whole country somehow, Mona, based on your experience, you can say the people mostly toward coffee when they go to a coffee shop or tea shop for breakfast or whatever, or more toward tea. What is the culture?
You mean in Hong Kong or?
Yeah.
I think, well, I guess I'm a bit biased because, my age and then the type of friends that I will hang out with, but I would say more often than not, people typically will go have a coffee.
Okay. Yeah, that's the same story here. Yeah.
You might go to a cafe to study, you'll probably order a coffee, or maybe you've gone for breakfast somewhere and you order a coffee, maybe tea, but if it's tea, it's most likely, Earl Grey or English breakfast, or maybe a herbal tea. But beyond that, it's not that common or mainstream to be appreciating single origin pure teas.
Yeah, I understand your point. Other than your tea business that you mentioned already, Mona.
Yeah.
For future plan, do you have anything in your mind to do? I mean, expanding your online business, having a tea shop. I don't know. Yeah. Anything you're planning to do?
Well, I hope next year I could do a little bit of tea travel. Let's see, because I would like to kind of expand the offering. As I mentioned, it's quite a small curation of teas that I love, and I would love to experience more tea farms and bring on those teas. I'm thinking about like Japan and Korea maybe, right. But let's see how the travel goes. And aside that, I also recently launched an online course, which is to teach people how to taste, appreciate, and evaluate teas.
That's great.
Because I feel that that's the main kind of missing gap, that there's so much to learn about tea. It can be quite intimidating. And so if there's some sort of way that you can learn about tea in a fun and comprehensive way, then it'll ease your transition into tea, definitely.
It's a great idea, Mona. And you are going to do that via your Instagram account, YouTube, or any other platform?
It's actually on Teachable. So I launched it in October. Okay. And so I partnered with, there's a book here called Tea is for Everyone. So the author and the publisher are based in Hong Kong. They did a really phenomenal job writing a very nice, comprehensive but concise book about Chinese tea in particular.
Okay.
Everything from the process to the tea farmers to tea etiquette and benefits of the tea leaf, all in a really nicely packaged book. Very easy to read, very beautiful, and also very informational. So I offered the tea course alongside the book and also one of my tea samplers, which includes the 6 teas which I first sourced.
Right. So it's kind of package.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That would be great, Mona, if you can provide me those details. And then when I post this video for the people watching this video, then we can share this with the people. If anyone interested, I myself, based on what you mentioned, I'm one of them interested to know and learn. So I'm happy to share it. Top of my head, I don't recall anything else to ask, Mona, but do you want to share anything else? Anything you missed during our chat?
Let me think. Well, I'd like to ask you, because you mentioned to me earlier that you traveled to some tea farms in Thailand. That's an area which I still have not visited myself. I mean, I've been to Thailand before on vacation, but never to visit the tea farms. I assume in the north, Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai area.
Exactly.
So I wanted to kind of ask you how that experience was.
I had a great experience, as you mentioned. Truly is in North Thailand, and this is T101, and there is another one. Actually, it's Singa beer. They manufacture beer, but they have a tea farm as well, and I've been in that tea farm. And they
Singa has a tea farm?
It's famous in Thailand. If you go to Thailand, if you're someone drinking beer, Singa beer is number one.
I love Shanghai. Yeah, I just didn't know that.
They have a tea farm, and it's a beautiful tea farm. So I've been on that tea farm, and I've been T101, which is in top of the mountain somehow in Chiang Rai. And actually, I posted a few photos of those tea farms, and when I started the Tea Lovers Journal in May, June last year. So when anyone has got a chance, including yourself, if you look at my earlier post, I put some photos of T101 and the Singa tea farm in Thailand, which I loved it. And definitely I'm planning to go and visit the tea farm in other part of the world. But for the timing, we are locked down due to COVID-19. Hopefully the situation will change. But it was a great experience. And also when I went to both tea farms, we tried some tea. They had mostly it was pure tea, but they had some blend as well.
What kind of pure teas do they normally make there?
They had white tea, green tea, and black tea. They had mix of, for example, white tea and rose, or green tea and some other herbals. So, but basically it was mostly, I mean, black tea, white tea, and green tea mostly. I love the tea. It was great, and it was a great experience to go to those tea farms. So anyway, that was my experience. Anything else you want to add to our chat, Mona?
What kind of, I know you're supposed to be interviewing me, but I have lots of questions for you too. So since you come from, the background of mainly drinking black teas, but you've obviously started venturing out and drinking lots of other kinds of teas, what's your preferred or favorite styles of tea at the moment?
I can say I love all different types of tea as a tea lover. But I myself, I do blending. I love blending tea and herbals. One of my favorite is white tea, rose petals, and cardamom. And also sometimes I put orange blossom. So I love those kind of blend. Lemongrass ginger is one of my favorite. Love it.
I should send you some lemongrass. It's really nice.
Yeah, I love it. Recently I tried one black tea with it was a mix of black tea, oolong tea, strawberry, and a couple of others which I don't remember top of my head. It was a great blend, and it was so good for breakfast. Basically what I do in the morning, preferably I have black tea. After the main food, whether lunch or dinner, sometimes I try Moroccan mint or mint tea. Also, I love a mix of chamomile and other herbs, maybe 7 p.m., 8 p.m.
Yeah.
As a, I can call it relax and sleep tea. So those are my preference. But as a tea lover, as I said, I love tea and herbals. I can't say, I can't give them any ranking. Say this is number one, this is number two. All of. That's good. You're drinking some tea, but unfortunately, I don't have tea to drink.
Well, it's quite late here, no? Like almost 7 p.m. So it's probably better you stick to the herbal right now.
Definitely. Anyway, if you don't have anything else to add, Mona, we finish our chat. It was great to see you, at least virtually. Hopefully, there will be a chance to catch up. So you will send me some more information, and when I post it, and I can share those with anyone watching this video. Thanks for your time. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much. And
you're very welcome.
Stay safe as well.
Thank you so much, and hope to catch up soon. Okay.
Yes. Let's continue to connect.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.